Something. All right, we'll give just a couple seconds for people to get in here. We'll get started shortly in just a minute. Welcome to the Third and Central podcast, the only podcast dedicated solely to the University of Louisville baseball program. This is Matt Sefcovic, and as always, I'm joined by Terry Pennington from Inside Louisville Baseball as we're coming to you live this evening on May 30th after the opening game of the NCAA tournament where Louisville beat East Tennessee State University in a heck of a game. Really quality opponent the Cards faced. We talked about that earlier in the week, and they really answered the call after kind of limping into the postseason. A couple tough games to end the season, but man, they really battled back. We'll dive into that and talk about some of the performances we saw from the Cards and what to expect tomorrow night against Vanderbilt. Obviously, a very good team, number one overall seed in the entire country. So Louisville's going to face another quality opponent. But I know it's been a fun day, a full day of baseball. Terry, I know you're in Nashville, got to take in the game live. Before we kind of jump into everything, how was your trip down, and what's your experience been like down in Nashville for the day?
Yeah, just fun to be down here for sure. Got to come down for, the open practice yesterday and take that in. It's always nice. Those open practices like that are really fun where you get to kind of be down on the field, take your photos, do all that kind of stuff, and kind of just be kind of right. You feel like you're kind of right in the mix, almost with the guys basically. So those are always a good time. Got to speak to Dan and a couple players, so I got to get a little scoop yesterday for sure before they ran out today. And yeah, I mean, couldn't have asked for a better weather day. It was nice when I was sitting there that third base line, maybe the back half of the game, the shadows creeped in over you just a little bit to keep that sun out. So it was man, heck of a day for the boys, and just really excited for them. And to jump in that winners bracket is a really big deal to get that getting that 1-0 game. And so we'll talk about all that stuff in a minute. But yeah, fun so far, fun trip so far. We'll see if we can keep it riding the rest of the weekend.
Now, you didn't get any rain on you down there during the Louisville game, did you?
It spit on us for about a half inning,
Yeah.
just enough for me to have to throw my jacket on and grab my rain pants out of my bag to throw over my backpack. But other than that, nope. Got that thing right back off, and we were back to going in the sun.
Good deal. I was watching the Vandy Wright State game, which we'll talk about here after we talk about Louisville and East Tennessee State. But they said it rained a little bit more, I think, during that game than we saw during the Louisville game. So they didn't mention it during the broadcast. So I hope that wasn't the case. So let's jump down across the scoreboard for the day. Obviously, it's been a crazy day of college baseball. So let's just kind of run through some. I just pulled up live scores. So obviously, most of these aren't final yet. But across the ACC, you've got Clemson. They're beating USC Upstate 7-3 in the ninth. This is on the D Ward scoreboard. Sometimes it's a little bit delayed, so that these may have changed a tad. So Clemson looks like they're in cruise control there. In their regional, they're hosting. West Virginia beat Kentucky earlier in that one, a walk-off in the bottom of the ninth. So Kentucky is in the losers bracket, and Clemson. Duke is up by 10. They're up 12-2 over Oklahoma State. That's a good win for Duke if they can hang on there, which it looks like they're probably going to. Locally here in the state, Murray State is up right now over Ole Miss 6-5 in the sixth. So let's keep watching the racers as that one gets to the end. Cruising down through some of the other scores. East Carolina, I don't know if you saw much of that one because it was obviously not ACC game, but it was the first game of the day that kicked off. They jumped out all over Florida, end up winning 11-6, but they look like a really, really good club going into the postseason. Wake Forest, they took one on the chin against Cincinnati, got beat 11-6. Miami with a big W though against Alabama, who was in the final top 25. So I was happy to see the Canes go down there and take down a SEC team, Florida State, number 7 team. They won 6-2 over Bethune-Cookman, so took care of business in their first game. And let's see if I'm Western, another local team, took a tough one from Georgia Tech, who that Georgia Tech team, we all know they're a wagon. We've seen them, but Western got beat 9-2. Last and final game, I believe, in the ACC I haven't talked about is NC State. I don't know what that was all about, man. Stetson took it to them today, 11-2. So the Wolfpack took a tough loss there. But kind of going across the games I talked about, anything really stick out to you? Or I know you're at the ballpark, so I don't know how much any other games you got to take in, but anything else kind of stick out to you on the day's action so far?
Yeah, I thought I'm not sure if you mentioned North Carolina or not, but just they cruised. I think they got what 8.1 from 8 1/3 from the start. I mean, dude's a monster. So gets them off to a good start, and that's why you throw stuff like that. That's why you throw that ace out there game one. Same thing Louisville did. You got to throw your guy game one, get you off to the right start. You mentioned East Carolina. That team's playing with house money, man. I mean, they've a team not expected, going into even their conference tournament to really do anything. You get hot at the right time. We've seen it in college baseball, repeatedly year after year, right? It's just somebody does it every time. So could it be them to make a run? It could be. Could it be Louisville? Could be. So you don't know who it's going to be. And tough to see, WKU take that one. I mean, they pitched so well, over the course of the year. Their staff ERA is one of the best in the country, and so obviously a step up in competition today with that Georgia Tech offense that we've like you mentioned, seen what they can do, and excited for Murray, man. The Fighting Will Veerlings doing their thing, so we'll see if they can hang on, pull the upset. The Fighting Will Cooks couldn't quite do it earlier today with the Vanderbilt game. That is the game I did watch. By the time I got back to the hotel, I watched the back. I don't know. It wasn't even. They still had that 20-2 Georgia game on at the time when I got back. So I think it was third or fourth inning by the time it flipped over that, and I watched the rest of that one. And so and I was watching a little bit of Arizona State before we hopped on here. So just a fun day of baseball, man. If you love college baseball, today and tomorrow you get 32 games a day. Oh man, what do? You just tell your wife or whatever it is, hey, out of commission, whatever it is. Make sure you got your lawn mowed. Make sure you got your honeydew list done ahead of time. What do guys do before the NCAA, the basketball tournament? They go get the vasectomy the day before, so you kind of got that couch time. So, if you gotta do it, you gotta do it, man. So, lots of enjoyment, lots of couch time this weekend, I think, for a lot of people.
No, 100%. It's one of the best days of the year. One other game I do want to touch on, I just realized, is that Columbia and Southern Miss game. If we're looking way in the future, right? Like we got to take care. Somebody's got to take care of business before we get to this point. But the Vanderbilt regional is matched up with Southern Miss, and right now Columbia, the 4 seed, is beating Southern Miss 6-3 in the bottom of the 6th inning. So just something to keep an eye on. Obviously, that's a long way out in the future, but it's noteworthy nonetheless. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that one as we go along too.
And you had mentioned the Miami score earlier. I did watch the last few innings of that game before getting over to that Georgia game. So that was another one I watched. I mean, Alabama got within 5 feet of walking that thing off. Got one to the wall like Dalton Rushing style at A&M, just that close, right? So tough if you're an Alabama fan. Good if you're a Hurricane fan, and if you're a Louisville fan, you like that one because a Miami regional win or Like you said, Columbia, either one of those hop up there. That could be, baseball at Jim Patterson Stadium might not be done if they are able to handle the rest of the weekend. So you never know, man. The first day is wild. And just, again, like we've already said, that shows the importance of winning day one, getting off to a good start, throw that ace out there and let him be your dude.
I watched a good chunk of the Miami and Alabama game, and man, Daniel Cuvée, he's ridiculous. He had I believe he hit a 3-run home run in the bottom of the first or top of the first, and made a defensive play later in the game. A ball that he dove, it was going to go down the line probably for a double. I think there was a runner on first, and probably would have scored the run. Just ridiculous. He's a heck of a ball player. I'm sad we didn't get to see him as much this year, but he's a lot of fun to watch. So let's jump over to the important thing that we're here to talk about, and that's the Louisville East Tennessee State game, which we obviously know at this point in time that Louisville picked up a big 8-3 win, like we said, to open the tournament. That's the big one. You got to win the first one, really. I mean, I don't have the stats sitting in front of me, but to get to the supers, to win your regional after losing the first game. I mean, it's a very, very small fraction of teams that have any success. So I got to win the first one. There was some talk going back and forth about who they were going to throw or who they thought they should throw, and I think it's after the game, it's pretty clear they made the right decision. I mean, Patrick Forbes, that's probably as good as we've seen him all year. I think he tied a season high in strikeouts against maybe Cal or something like that with 13, I believe. So, but big moment like this, that you couldn't have asked for a better outing from Forbes. Like I said, he struck out 13. He set a new school record for strikeouts in a postseason game, which is, I mean, that's pretty impressive when you think about some of the names that have come through here, the Brendan McKays and the just all the talent. You look down the right field wall and see all the faces that are out there on the right field wall, and it's like, Patrick Forbes struck out more dudes in a postseason game than any of those guys. So kudos to him. I mean, he gave up that 2-run home run early on. Was it the second inning, I believe, and then after that, he was just in cruise control. And Terry, you were there for the press conference after the game, and I watched it, and he wanted to come back out there. He wanted the ball. He wanted more. After 6, he was up to 100 and how many pitches was he at that point in time?
104.
Yeah, he was just over 100, and he wanted the ball. He wanted to come out for the 7th, and Coach McDonald said he almost convinced him to, but they turned it over to Brendan Cutts, and Cutts was sensational too. He gave up a solo home run, and that was it. He struck out 5 in 3 innings. So they totaled 18 strikeouts for the game, which is a new postseason record for Louisville. So just breaking records all over the place. And I think what's most important to me about those numbers is we sat here earlier this week and talked about how offensive this East Tennessee State team was, and how we thought this was going to be a slugfest, an 8-10 or 12-10 type game. And, we came out and scored 8, but I mean, East Tennessee State, they really didn't, I mean, outside of the two balls that they hit, that was it. They really had no momentum. I think between the 2nd and the 7th inning, they had like 1 hit or something like that. I don't have it right in front of me, but, I mean, between Forbes and Cutts, they really just had no answer whatsoever. But I think the most important thing to me is you win the game and you only use 2 pitchers, right? You don't have to go to the bullpen. Outside of those 2 guys, everybody's fresh tomorrow. And Cutts didn't throw too many pitches. I mean, if we get in a situation that you may need him later this weekend on a Sunday, or God forbid a Monday, if we get to that situation, you may see him for an inning if we have to. So I think that, to me, winning the game obviously is the most important, but right behind that is the fact that we only use 2 arms. So you were there. It obviously saw a very special performance from Forbes and Cutts. Just kind of walk us through what you saw and what you have to add to all that.
Yeah, I mean, Forbes seemed like he had it on cruise control early. I felt like, he just really kind of was breezing through. I mean, might have been a walk here. I think even the second batter of the game might have got a hit, I think, up the middle. That's basically that in the homer. Those are the 2 hits he gives up in his 6 innings of work. So, I mean, how incredible was he? I mean, you almost can't even, there's too, you could never describe how great it was. It was that great of a performance in the and it's not like, to me it's not as much about what he did, which is great obviously, but it's when he did it. And the fact that he goes to Dan during the middle of the week and says, essentially, give me the baseball. I want the ball game one. You know, let's throw the dudes on my back and let's go. And then backs it up on the mound. Patrick's a pretty unassuming guy, pretty quiet guy. You don't always get a lot of personality out of him, right? It's just not really who he's not this, he's not this beat his chest guy, right? He's not, like if you just, take everybody's personality is different, right? And so some guys you expect to see that fire on the mound in terms of the emotion, stuff like that, almost every time they're out there, because that's just who they are, like a Tucker Biven. You get a big out. He's fired up, right? What's pumping through his veins. Straight adrenaline. You know what I mean? So, like, Forbes is not necessarily always that guy. That dude rides a flat line, which is part of what makes him so great and who he is. Because the moment never seems too big for him. This dude just an ice water in his veins kind of guy. And so, to see him get fired up out there today, to see him get pumped. There were a couple times where he thought he even struck another guy or two out, and you could see the frustration. I love that. I want that from him because, show that fire, show that competitiveness. He was dialed in from the word go. He hits the guy, gives up the homer, and then a quick walk, right? Roger Williams comes out, meeting at the mound, whatever was said out there. And I wish I would have asked post game, to be honest. I thought about it right after we left, that I should have, right after the post game ended, that I should have asked him, because whatever it was the magic words. Because he didn't go up a hit the rest of the time. So, whatever Roger said, save that, bottle it, keep it for the rest of the year, sell it, whatever you want to do. You can make millions off that thing. But he had the right, whatever it was right. Patrick was flawless basically after that. And like you said, you turn that over to Cuts, and again, just locked in. The thing that's so fun about that from Brennan is, like, when he when he jumps in the portal, he's got all the options he wants out there. You know what I'm saying? A great pitcher of the year in his conference. That dude could have gone anywhere. And look at where some of the other guys in his, on his own team went. The Friday night guy at Texas is a teammate, and so, like, he comes to Louisville for these kind of moments, to be in these games. You know, throw me the ball, I'll get us to the finish line. Man, he was dialed too. Just the one, like, again, just the one bomb. The K was working. He was mixing pitches well, and he was like, you could tell the confidence, even just the way he was walking off the mound when innings would end. And it's like he completely expected it to go how it went. He expected to be great. You could see it in his body language, and he was. And like you said, it cannot be overstated, the fact that they get through that game with just two guys. You got everybody available tomorrow except Cuts, and that's huge in a 1-0 game. That is, obviously going to be the biggest game these boys have played to this point in the year. Hostile territory. That place is going to be rocking tomorrow. We're going to get into it for sure. But you got everybody available. And like you said, could he come back Sunday? I'm sure he's going to say yes, and definitely Monday. If it got to Monday, he's available Monday. But Sunday, do you need an inning? Are you in the afternoon game? Are you in the night game? However it goes, if you needed one or two, I'm sure he'd tell you he's ready to roll for sure. And that's the thing. That's what's kind of fun about this time of year, right? Guys, just you get a little bit more of that. Hey, give me the baseball. Hey, and coaches are a little bit more likely to ride with guys in that way. Like, okay, it's best on best at this time of the year, so there's not as much of, hey, let's, we're gonna work. We're gonna make sure we get every guy in over the weekend. That's not necessarily how it's always gonna go, and so I would expect as the weekend goes that you probably see cuts again.
Yeah, I would say, unless the next, let's say, two games just, are pitched perfectly and everything goes exactly how Louisville would like it to go, we're probably going to see cuts at some point again. He's just that type of pitcher. And Brandon with the assist here just put in the chat, he threw 39 pitches today. So at 39, I mean, he can come back in a couple days. So there's your guy, Brandon. I think you saw him down at Georgia Tech. So he's helping us out here in the chat. So if you're out there, again, we are live. If you got anything to say, anything you want us to talk about, questions, all that good stuff, feel free to throw it out there. We'd be happy to discuss that. So, but yeah, I think we could see cuts again this weekend.
I think I had not looked at what his exact total was at the end. I knew he was 29 through the two innings because I had checked to see. I was kind of seeing like, are they? I was just kind of debating in my mind at that time, like, will they bring him back for another one? Like if it's how many could it get to? 10 pitch inning though to end that thing off is really nice for him to get across the finish line under 40 pitches to the three. And that was the other thing. Everybody, both guys, I'm gonna say everybody, it's just two dudes. They were both so efficient, and that's again so huge. And these are the things we've been talking about all year. When Louisville puts when the pitches are in the zone, when the guys are locked in that way, this is what happens. That's basically just the way the season's gone. We pitch well, we win. Throw the ball in the strike zone, there's W's out there because the offense travels, the speed travels, all those things. I mean, the things that we were able to do on the base pass or the things, the way that we're able to get them on, get them over, get them. I mean, those things. And look, we talked about it earlier in the week. It's the ballpark plays small, especially to right field. And look, there were a couple shots hit out into some gaps that were not cheap. But that right field corner, man, that thing is short. And I mean, and that goes for everybody. I mean, that goes for both teams. And so, we were able to take advantage of it a little bit. They hit some off to that right side. So it was, I think the game went mostly kind of how I expected it to go. Again, we were able to keep the ball down. Patrick's, they weren't ready for that electric fastball. And they talked about it afterwards. I did not. I mean, I did video it. I didn't post it, and I probably will post it tonight later. But I did. I said it on the ETSU press conference as well, and their coach said right away, in his opening statement, look, hat tip to them. They were better than we were. And, he's like, they threw out their guy, and he was their guy. And, when you're able to run that fastball up there, and even the two players that they had in there both said, look, it's hard to lay off that 95 at your chest. You can't get that bat around quick. It's just so much harder to get the speed around with the bat when it's up high. And, the fact of the matter is he controlled the whole game with his off-speed pitch, though. It's the fastball's great, and he mixed in a cutter a little bit, and he had, but being able to keep the ball down, his off-speed stuff is what, and being able to locate it was the key to his performance today, I thought.
Yeah, I thought there were times, and the announcers kind of talked about this. He had a 0-2 count. It may have been on Torres at one point in time, and he was trying to throw a slider, which he struck Torres out 3 times, the SoCon Player of the Year. He went down the first 3 times, I think, on strikes. But it was one of those at bats. He was way ahead in the count, but his slider, he couldn't start it in the zone. But when he did, it was unhittable. They could not pull back. I mean, every single one of them were biting at his slider. His fastball is obviously live. It's pumping mid to upper 90s. That is what it is. They couldn't touch that either. But when the slider was in the zone, they had no chance. And they kind of, Forbes kind of talked about that after the game, that his slider was the pitch that was the reason he was so effective today. So that was good to see. But Torres, that's one of the guys we talked about last week. We were kind of, I don't want to say nervous about, but he's one of the guys that he could beat you. He's going to put the ball in play. And at a ballpark like that, when you've got a guy that's got 23 home runs, like anything can happen. And man, he couldn't touch the baseball against Forbes. So that was really good to see Forbes just able to attack a potent offense like that and just really keep them at a minimum.
And the thing, the fun part to me is that's who Patrick, that's the guy you've wanted, you want to see. He ran out there and showed you his best stuff today on the big stage. I mean, we've had two massive stage type games this year where he runs out to open the season, against Texas down there, in Arlington, big crowd, big matchup. Dude, I mean, the dude was an ace. Give him the ball first game NCAA tournament, great offense, one that, up and down the lineup. They've got dudes that hammer the baseball. I mean, it's not, yeah, it's the SoCon, right? So, how does it play against all these other teams? That offense is not a joke. I mean, I don't care if it's a SoCon or what it is, 116 homers, 115. That that play. I mean, would they have hit that many in the ACC? Probably not. But at the same time, don't forget this: when you're seeing elite fastballs like that, Petra's providing all the power. He's providing it for them if they can get their bat on. They couldn't. That's the thing. And so, like, to see him go out there, be that ace that we needed him to be on the big stage. I mean, you saw every reason why everybody in the MLB loves that kid. I mean, the arm is live, and when that secondary stuff lands, forget it.
Yeah, I was really excited to see just how he bounced back today at a big stage, and hopefully we're gonna have a bigger stage here next weekend, and we'll get have Patrick, at least a time or two again in a Louisville uniform, because his name's gonna be called soon once the draft starts. So hopefully we'll get to see Patrick at least once more. But we keep talking about this offense of Louisville, so let's jump over to that too, since we've talked about the pitching from Forbes and Cuts. Louisville, they fell behind 2-0 after the home run from the East Tennessee State, and then Lucas Moore, second time around the lineup, just battled and battled and battled. I think he had two strikes at the point in time. It may have been a full count when he drove the home run over the right field wall to tie things up. And to that point in time, Louisville offensively really couldn't get much going. Carter Fink, we didn't put any pressure on him the first time around. He was really locked in, just settled in. But you could tell as we started getting base runners on, he was a completely different pitcher. He did not look comfortable, and not only base runners, but Louisville base runners that could steal at any point in time. Like, you could tell he was really focused on what we were going to do on the base pass, and it was really hindering his pitchability. So got 3 home runs today, one from Lucas Moore. Matt Klein, obviously back in the lineup, starting for the first time. And, the fact that he hit a home run today after missing, the time that he missed, and that it's just crazy impressive. And that just shows the skill set that he has and why he's going to be another guy that's going to be drafted this year. And his first 2 at-bats, there's probably some swings that he'd probably like to have back. But when you're back out there live for the first time, or I guess we saw him in the ACC tournament, but, starting for the first time and a big moment like the NCAA tournament, has a couple at bats he would like to have back, but to come back and hit a home run like that in a moment after missing so much time is just really, really impressive. And I was happy to see that, just that's exciting when you have a guy that's out that long, a captain, your 4-hole hitter, that just misses that kind of time, able to come back and help the squad. I think that's been consistent for him the whole year, is whatever it takes to get back, he was going to do to be back out there with his boys. And you kind of see that come to fruition in that type of moment. It was just really exciting for him. Eddie King Jr. hit another home run. Man, I don't know what he's just unconscious right now. Like, I don't know what else to say about him. 3 hits, 2 RBIs. He had the home run. He's just been on an absolute heater. And, Coach Mack has talked about this probably 100 times this year, that when Klein went down, they approached Eddie King Jr. and they were like, hey, this is going to be a group effort to replace Klein. You've got your 4-hole hitter going down, but you're kind of the one that we need an increased production from. and he he's more than answered the call. So even though that Klein is back now, King's still doing what King has done all year. So to have those two guys in the lineup and just producing the way he continues to produce is just super happy for Eddie. As a guy that came back his senior year, he could have easily went somewhere and, signed for a little bit of money and, started his pro ball career. But to come back and put up the numbers that he's put up, I think he broke his season home run record now with the one today, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was tied going into today. So just really happy for Eddie. One thing I do want to note is we talked about this. Their relief pitcher, Frederick, he was SoCon Pitcher of the Year. He's a reliever. We said earlier this week, we're going to see him at some point in time on Friday, like point blank period. He's going to pitch in the game. But Louisville did what they've kind of done, and it just happened so fast. They started scoring that it really got away from East Tennessee State, and their staff really didn't have a chance to get him in the game. You don't want to put him in when you're down too much, because then you burn him and you lose the game and you burnt your best pitcher. So I thought that was really big that we were able to pull off a win, and we really didn't even have to see their best pitcher that they had in the bullpen. So offensively, we did what we thought they were going to do. You and I talked after we recorded on Wednesday for a little bit longer, and we were both pretty confident, I think, that we were going to score runs. I wasn't super scared about not being able to score runs against them. I was just hoping that we were going to be able to keep the ball in the zone, which we obviously did, and the runs came, and Louisville came away with a big 8-3 win. So being down there in the ballpark, obviously Louisville did what Louisville does, and we saw their offense explode for 8 runs to pick up the win. What else did you see you want to add to that from being down in Nashville?
Yeah, so I thought that all three guys that hit homers all have just pretty cool like perseverance stories to me. And so that makes it all the more fun that and they're all different. And so it just makes it so much fun to me to see these guys on, like you're saying, on a big stage like this. I mean, whether it's Lucas Moore, I mean, when you think about even just the way he got to Louisville, right? And that we end up with him is awesome. And just like, thanks UK again for the gift. I mean, those guys, they have to, every single time Lucas Moore runs out on the baseball field, they have to be kicking themselves. It's amazing. I mean, those dudes taking a portal transfer over Lucas is just the height of stupidity. But thanks for the gift. We're happy to have him. More than happy to have him, actually. And just to see him continue to add things to his arsenal. I know Coach has talked about it. I think we've talked about it even on here before about, he just continues to add tools, to his toolbox. And that power surge that he's kind of found just a little bit this year, right? As he's starting to, you can see he's getting bigger, he's getting stronger. That weight room time's paying off. Keep that calorie count up. All those different things that he's doing to kind of, get himself to that next level, right? That next level of ball player, because I thought he had a very, very good early part of the season last year. And then, it was a little more swing and miss once ACC started,
Yep.
Especially at some off-speed stuff, right? People were able to kind of spin him. He had a little bit of that wave swing to him, where he just wasn't picking it up, right? And we've talked about it on here before, the summer in the Northwoods League, just playing every day, all those at bats. And look, Northwoods League gets I don't want to say a bad rap, but it's a lot of baseball. It's a long summer season. You run out there nonstop, but that's what he needed. And to see him just keep doing it, and like again on this stage for that kid to go out there and help this program, the year he's had. There have been times where Lucas Moore has carried this baseball team. Offensively. Just with the production with the bat, the average, the stolen bases. Again, he's been thrown out one time when he's, sicker than a dog. Just the kid's unbelievable. Matt Klein, you mentioned. I wish that everybody could have seen how excited his mom and dad were when he hit that home run. They were going crazy. His mom jumped up. It was awesome, man. I love seeing that. Just so many emotions for him, for his family. I mean, it's his, it's his draft year rights. This is kind of it for him, and so gets the broken bone, and then but he's able to just keep working to get back with the dudes. He talked about it post game, and I mean, to see him get that one out of there, man, that was amazing. Like you said, the first two at bats weren't his best two at bats, but again, right back in the box. Let's go again. I mean, waited, saw one he wanted, man, and put that thing out. And Eddie, you know, it's so hard when you go through your draft year and it doesn't go the way you want it to go. And you've mentioned, and Dan's mentioned many times, right, that yeah, they called him in, and hey, we need the Eddie King Jr. that's shown up in May the last couple years. We need him for the full season. I mean, I mean, he couldn't have responded any better. The guy's been unbelievable. I mean, he's such a, this is the thing. This is my favorite part about this program. I say it all the time. They're such good dudes. And like just how humble Eddie is, like talking to him post game. I mean, he just he's always deflecting, answers about himself are real short. He wants to talk about team, he wants to talk about other guys. Kind of shy and talking about himself. And I'm so happy for that kid to have come back, had that season. And you start to think when he comes back, right? Well, the outfield's crowded. Where does how do the pieces fit together? Let me tell you, DHing is hard. It is really, really difficult to stay locked in when you're not out there the full game. And so you've got to find you've got to find what works for you. And we saw that again. We had a great Zion was great at it last year. The times that he got to do it as well. And so we've had some really good success with some DHs lately. I'm telling you, I know that it's not. I know the draft is shorter than it used to be, down to 20 from 40 previous rounds, and I know that he went through his, quote unquote draft year last year in terms of his first year eligible, and you think, okay, he doesn't have leverage. Listen, you try to tell me that somebody doesn't want that dude on their, in their major league, in their minor league program, you're out of your mind. That dude, that bat plays, period. And it's not just the homers. It's he has power to all fields. I mean, can he stay healthy enough to play the outfield? I'm not even maybe, but I'm not even sure that that matters because the bat plays. I mean, he obviously can DH, and so I don't know, man. Eddie is continuing to play himself into some better opportunities at the next level, just with the way with his play and this thing is no fluke. It's not hot for a month. It's not any of that stuff. It's Eddie King Jr. It's May all year long for Eddie this year. And so, I mean, again, couldn't be happier for those three dudes. I just, like I said, all the perseverance, all the different things they've gone through, and it's all different for everyone, but they've all just risen to the occasion. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think all three of those guys have cool stories. One thing I do want to touch on. I meant to mention this about Klein. He came up the third time, and they mentioned this on the broadcast. And the poor broadcast guys today, man, it's tough to come out and call these college baseball games when you don't watch college baseball all year long. But one thing they pointed out that they did a really good job with Matt Klein, his third at bat, kind of the adjustment that he made. They talked about it, and then a couple of years later, he hits a home run. He was really struggling with the changeup. So you notice in his third at bat, he kind of adjusts where he is in the box. He moves towards the pitcher a little bit, and next thing you know, he hits one over the fence. So it's cool to see them making those in-game adjustments, and they pay off. So that was really neat to see from Klein, and the fact that they talked about it, and then a couple pitches later, there it went.
Yeah, because some of those go, whether he goes back and he's talking about it with with Vrabel or with Snyder, and the adjustment to slide up, get be don't let it get too deep on you, and move up and able to get out in front of it obviously in that way. And that's, man, what a big swing it was for him. And then and just the confidence boost for him, right, coming back to get that to get that big hit right there and have it be a home. I mean, just awesome for him. And again, great to have him back behind the plate. That cannot be overstated. We talked about it earlier in the week. That we'll see how he bounces back the rest of the weekend. Obviously, just having not had the continuous reps behind the plate in terms of the stamina and whatever that may, however you would want to phrase that. But man, really excited for him. They have to feel really good about where his confidence level is at, and then just how confident he makes the pitchers, having him back there, to kind of help them out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously the home run was exciting, and for him, like coming back and being able to pitch in like that. But that at bat, I was like, man, we just need to get him on base. We need to get him a hit here just to get the confidence. Like you said, he needs confidence at this point in time because you haven't seen that in months, right? So the fact that not only did he get a hit, but he hit one over the fence. I think that tomorrow and throughout the rest of the weekend is going to play really well for Klein, because now you're feeling it. It's different when you hit a ball like that rather than take an 0 for 3 day or something. So I think that's going to be massive for Klein the rest of the weekend. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on, you talked about summer ball. I do want to give a big shout out to our buddy Joe. He'd probably hate if I was doing this, but he's on Twitter, Summercards account. It's at U of L Summercards. I don't know how he does what he does, but somehow he follows all the Louisville players around summer ball and their stats, and he posts everything almost daily on there. So if you're not following Joe at U of L Summercards, he's a big time follow. You'll I think get a lot of enjoyment out of following his account, just to kind of keep up with everything this summer, because it's a lot to keep up with. It's hard enough to keep up with Louisville baseball when they're all in one team, but when they're spread across the country this summer, it's nearly impossible. So I just want to plug Joe real quick, because I think that's a really good place if you want to keep up with that kind of thing throughout the summer. So let's flip over to the afternoon game, or I guess the evening game that was down in Nashville between Vandy and Wright State, which is a really frustrating game for me. And we'll jump into that if you didn't watch it. But Vandy ended up winning the game. I believe it was 4-3 was the final. They were up. Wright State was up 3-0 after 6, and their starting pitcher had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning against Vandy, who again was the number 1 overall seed in the entire tournament. And they pulled the pitcher. He was at 76 pitches, I believe it was. So pitch count wasn't high. They asked the coach after the game, and he kind of said that was the plan all along, that they didn't want to let him go too many times through the Vandy lineup, because you obviously see the pitcher more, you get more comfortable with him, so yada yada yada. I get that, but I mean, the dude hadn't given up a hit yet. He had walked a couple towards the end of his outing, but still, you're looking at 76 pitches, no hits against the number 1 team in the country. You ride that dude as long as you can. Like I don't know. I tried making sense of it from the other point of view, but I really can't. But anyways, Vandy storms back. I think the first or second batter after the pitching change hit a home run. Then they hit one in the 8th, maybe two, maybe a solo in the 8th, and then a 2-run home run, I believe, in the 8th later to take the lead. So that was it. But did you see the 2-run home run that gave Vandy the lead? Did you see that one? I'd like to talk about that call too. I don't know how that went down. So right-handed hitter pulls the ball down the right field line. They call it foul. Before they go to replay, the umpires get together and say, no, it was fair. I've never seen that before, right? Like, if you're questioning a call that you make in this day and age, that's what replay's there for, right? You get together and say, hey, I didn't have a good look at it. Did you have a good look at it? Talk about it. Make a decision. If you still don't know, go to replay. Since replay's been here, I haven't seen that. I was really baffled by the fact that they made one call, changed it, and then went to replay and confirmed it. But really, whatever they called on the field, that's what was going to stand, because they showed 2 angles of it, and neither one of them you had any idea where the ball was in correlation to the foul pole. So I don't know. Have you seen that? That's the first time I've ever seen the umpires reverse a call before actually looking at it.
That was the height of just ridiculous college officiating. And I mean, you see it all over all sports. It doesn't matter if it's football, basketball. I mean, the replay review system, look, at least there is replay, right? So, I
Right.
mean, that's a positive. Uh, like you said, there was from the moment, when they first like so the balls hit the guy on the replay they show the umpire looking. I mean, he turns, he's got his hands, down on his legs, and he is eyeballing it. Now, they show the Vandy kid running towards first. His immediate reaction is, "What? No way!" Basically, review. The universal sign for review, I guess, is hear no evil. So the, the guys come together, and you saw in the one replay, right? The home plate umpire gets down on his knee,
Mm-hmm.
puts his arm down on his knee and looks up, right? He's taking a look at it. Now, is he the one that overrules it? I guess, because look, there's no way any of the other guys have any kind of clue if that ball is fair or foul. In the one replay, I couldn't even see the baseball. I mean, I was looking all over, even in like the still shots. I mean, I'm like, squint, that you can't find it. In the other one, you can see it, and it looks foul, but
Mm-hmm.
you can't tell there's no depth perception on it. So you can't, they're talking about, well, it went over the top of the foul pole, but is it, so by the time it's over there, maybe, the one guy on the broadcast thought it was a home run. So I guess maybe, but that's also just one guy's thing. One guy's opinion or his view, and he even stated we don't have the best angle here. But I did think this. The fact of the matter is, just like you said, it was never going to be overturned, no matter what the call was. So if it's not, if it's kept as originally called, it's still 3-2, and he goes back to the batter's box because there's nothing in that to say. Because again, the only one you can see the ball in, it looks foul by the time you find it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So how are you gonna? I cannot believe that happened. But let me tell you something. Karma is crazy, and that's exactly what Wright State gets for that nonsense of pulling that kid after 6 innings, 79 pitches. The kid was straight dealing. They had no clue. He had started, the fastball was up to 95, I think. He started to mix the cutter in like the fifth inning. I mean, he was unbelievable. Is that kid in the portal yet? I mean, how many people have called him? I mean, I'm not even joking. The way that kid had pitched, if that kid jumps in the portal, he's going to get, who knows the offers that kid's going to get. I mean, just insane. It was an unbelievable outing. I felt terrible for him having been pulled. Here's the deal. I completely understand the idea of, yes, we want to go into the game with this set game plan. All good. Of course, you have a game plan before the game starts. If you don't, you should not be in the role that you're in. But you have to be able to adjust on the fly. And they clearly were not, Vandy had nothing for him all day. Was he going to go the whole game and throw a no-hitter? I have no idea. Probably not. Could he got you through at least another inning? Yes, I think yes. And it just allows your bullpen guys just to have less pressure. Once Vandy hit that first homer to make it 3, and here's the deal. I kind of always thought Vandy was going to make a run. It was just going to be, could they get it over the finish line, come all the way back? Even when it's 3-0 and it's still a no-hitter, you're just waiting for them to kind of wake up, right? And your brain, right? Your mind, you're dreaming of what the rest of the weekend looks like if Wright State's able to get that thing across the line. And so, uh, look, I feel terrible for those kids because that was just completely mismanaged. And again, like we've talked about a million times on here, baseball's the ultimate 2020 sport, right? Hindsight, ultimate second guess. I mean, you can always look back. And again, everyone, like I say, every week, I feel like everyone has all the information that the coach has. And I understand he's going to get up there and say what he had to say that. I mean, he had to say, yeah, this was our plan. This was our plan. It doesn't, terrible. It doesn't matter. It's a bad plan then. I mean, like, I mean, it's a fine plan, but it's poor execution to not understand that, oh, I'm through 6 innings and I thought maybe we'd only like to get him through the lineup twice, but also we've got through the lineup more than twice for starters. It's not like you pulled him right when you got to the top of the lineup. He got through those three guys, and then I don't know, man. Look, tough for them to come back to the losers bracket, and trust me, he gonna think about that one all summer long because he changed the course of what their rest of their weekend and their season looked like with that decision, which in real time and in looking back at it is just I mean, just one of the most boneheaded decisions you could make as a baseball coach. I feel a little bit bad for him, honestly, but mostly I feel bad for his team because they're all sitting in their hotel rooms right now, every single one of them, talking about it in this way and realizing like, oh, our coach is a ding dong for having done that, like not the right one. And I feel bad for. It's a great team. It's a great program. Will Cook over there, seeing him play first base, but just couldn't get it done. You just feel bad for the kids. Just feel bad for especially the starter. But man, just not the right decision.
And selfishly, it's a bonehead play for us, right? I'd much rather be looking at Wright State across the dugout tomorrow night at 9 o'clock than Vandy. So I was locked into that game over any other game that was on TV just because I was wanting to watch Vandy. I've seen him a little bit this year, but I wanted to watch him a little bit more as we coast through the regional. But man, just really disappointed. Like you said, just feel bad for the guys. I mean, that's tough to have that type of performance and just come up short at the end because of a coaching decision. Really, I mean, that's what it comes down to. So, looking over at the chat, Brandon just sent in that Oregon State just got beat. Wow. So there's another top seed. St. Mary's beat Oregon State 6-4. And just kind of looking at some of the other games around the country, there's a few other really close. Murray State and Ole Miss, they're tied at 6 in the top of the 8th. So that one's cruising along. Columbia is still up on Southern Miss. That's another host. Columbia's up 9-4. That's in the 9th inning. So barring some major comeback, Southern Miss is going to need at least 5 runs, depending on what Columbia does in the top of the 9th. So there's two hosts that are getting beat. Oregon right now is getting beat 3-4 to Utah Valley, and that's in the 7th inning. So there's still the potential for some big upsets. Because honestly, this morning we really didn't see a ton. I say this afternoon we didn't see a ton of big upsets, number ones or anything go down. But it looks like the Oregon State is the first to join that party, and there's a couple that are on the ropes as we head into the evening.
I'd seen Oregon State had pulled their starter in the first inning after 7 batters. I think he had hit 3 dudes, potentially in a row. That part I'm not sure, but he had hit 3 guys right away, and then they yanked him out of there. I mean, they were down already, and just trying to play catch up. But that St. Mary's team, they can, that same, they were not maybe the best team over the whole entire year, but they played some really good ball in that tournament. I saw some of their game against San Diego, I think, in the final. And so, it's baseball's that game, right? We talk about it all the time, in a one-off situation like that. And that's why the double elimination tournament is helpful. And that's what you're thinking, right? Is that, okay, if Wright State's able to beat Vandy, well, then all of a sudden Vandy's got to win 4 games in 3 days. to I don't know, just it was close. It was close to having happened. So, but there's a lot of baseball still. These teams aren't out, right? They've still, but man, Oregon State got their work cut out for them out there, and so maybe Southern Miss as well. And then the people will start chirping, right? Oh, maybe this team should have hosted. Maybe this team should have hosted, right? And so again, it's the hindsight part, right? Oh, TCU lost today too.
That's
USC
right.
stuck it to them.
Yes.
So and Southern Miss had beat them during the year, so I mean that should have been done. But the Georgia Tech crowd will get real loud, right? Oh, maybe we should have. So, you know, that's just kind of how it goes. Same way in the NCAA basketball tournament. Oh, we were underseeded. Look, you got to go out there and win the games. I mean, that's really just what it comes down to, and that's what I like about. That's what I liked about Louisville today. You got to
Yep.
look. Did the season end the way you wanted it? No. But they're a 2 seed because it's the whole body of work. It's not just this last 3-4 week chunk where they weren't playing their best baseball. It's the whole body of work. And it's, the Texas game at the very first game of the year that counts just as much as the Pitt game to end the year. And so you saw them be able to hit the reset button. Let's come right back out. Brand new season. Let's start again. And the boys were ready to go. And you've got to be ready to go because these teams, like you're mentioning, Columbia's a good ball club,
Hmm.
but uh, Southern Miss. I know they're at home. I know Oregon State's gonna be at home. Some of these things, but TCU. I know they're not hosting, but I mean, now these teams, like I just said, 4 games in 3. That's a lot to ask because the pitching just gets so depleted, and so I don't know, man. Tough ask for some of these clubs. Happy that Louisville's in that 1-0 game tomorrow night. That's for sure.
Two score updates. Columbia just tacked on two more, so it's 11-4 in the ninth. Murray State put one on Ole Miss. They're up 7-6 going in the bottom of the eighth.
See,
So
fighting Will Veerlings, man.
that's right. Let's go Racers. So let's turn the page and talk about Vandy a little bit. I know we're familiar with them, right? We've seen them. We beat them just a couple weeks ago on May 6th, 5-4 in the Battle of the Barrel. Vandy currently is 43-16 after their win tonight. They're 29-5 at home, so they protect their home field well. That's something Louisville did this year extremely well. So that'll be curious to see how Vandy plays tomorrow. Obviously, they didn't have their best stuff tonight. One thing that I was really excited was they threw their ace tonight. And you and I had talked the other day, and I didn't think they would. I really didn't. And every coach approaches that a little bit differently. But the fact of the matter is, we've said it how many times tonight. You got to win the first one. And it's probably a good thing they did throw their ace tonight, just based on how the game played out. So we won't see him tomorrow. So but that doesn't mean they don't have anybody else behind him because this pitching staff is they're just loaded. They did not update their stats after the game between the time we started tonight. So these are prior to the Wright State game, but 3.76 team ERA, and it's top 10 in the country. But that is just an insane number. You used to see those numbers more often about 10 years ago, but the balls have changed, the bats have changed, just the way the game is played has changed quite a bit. You don't see ERAs like that near as frequently as you used to. So this is a very, very quality pitching team that we're going to see. I would assume that we're probably going to see Cody Bowker. I'm not sure exactly how to say his last name, but he's 3-4 with a 4.46 ERA. They've also got Connor Fennell behind him. He's a guy we could see, but Cody's been their kind of their Saturday guy throughout the year. So those are probably two of the options that we'll see. They've also got a freshman that they threw against Louisville in a midweek, who's really good. He's typically been a starter, but wouldn't surprise me if we see him. If Louisville tacks on a couple runs early and they're in a situation where they need to go to their bullpen, the freshman that started against Louisville is probably a really good option that we may see tomorrow night to try to keep Vandy in it if that's the case. The game is at 9 o'clock tomorrow, so it'll be a late one. Terry, you and I haven't talked about this, but we'll talk about it now. I'm assuming we probably won't will not go live tomorrow night because it would be at probably 2 o'clock in the morning, and it'd probably be you and me awake. But we'll definitely be talking about this game between Louisville and Vandy at some point on here, but it probably won't be tomorrow night. So let's look at some just team comparison stats, and then Terry, I'll get your thoughts on things. Just comparing the two teams, Louisville and Vanderbilt. Again, but these numbers are both before the NCAA tournament started because stats haven't been updated yet. But Louisville's batting 306. Vandy, this shocked me. They hit 270 as a team. So Louisville has to bring their best stuff tomorrow night. 100%. Vandy's the number one overall team in the country. But just look up and down their lineup. This isn't a team that they're not going to be as offensive as East Tennessee State, 1 through 9. Does that mean we're going to hold them less than 3 runs? That's not what I'm saying. But they don't have these eye-popping numbers. They don't hit 116 home runs like we've seen from East Tennessee State. So one thing to keep in mind. They field it extremely well. Tim Corbin teams typically do. They're 982 on the year. That's a pretty impressive number as a team to field for an entire season. So probably not going to see a ton of miscues on the season. They are going to run quite a bit. Louisville's they've stolen 146 bases going into the postseason. Vandy was at 105. So they're going to steal a couple games or a couple bases every single game. And that's who they are. I think Coach McDonald and Coach Corbin they play a similar style of baseball. I think home runs they're sitting at 62. Louisville was at 72. So some comparable numbers there. But this Vandy team, they're just very, very sound. They're going to pitch it well. They're going to play defense extremely well. They don't necessarily have to score a ton of runs because their pitching and defense are so good. They've been elite all year long, and those are numbers going through the SEC, which we know how big and mighty the SEC is and has been. I hate it, but there's no arguing it. The SEC is what they are, right? They've got, I don't know, they get 13 teams in this year, so that every weekend you go out, you're playing someone. Unless you're playing Missouri, you're playing somebody that's gonna be in the NCAA tournament. And why they kept their coach, I don't know. That's a discussion for another day. But nonetheless, Louisville's they've got their hands full tomorrow night. I'd love what we did today. So this team's going to be ready to play tomorrow night. There's no doubt about that. But Vandy's a very, very high quality opponent that we're very familiar with. So excited to see how it plays out tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
When you mentioned the team ERA numbers, something to keep in mind just in terms of like a comp. From someone that we've already seen in terms of full staff in that way would be like a North Carolina, who's just a little bit better team ERA wise than what Vanderbilt is. But if you remember that North Carolina, we were able to win that series. That staff was very good, very talented. It's not just a frontline guy or two. And the funny part is, Vanderbilt pitched very well today. They were down 3-0 into the 6th, 7th inning, but they'd only given up 5 hits.
Yeah.
And so, he was throwing the ball extremely well. The control was pretty good. Wright State was able to jump on him a little bit a couple times, and that's really what it is. And that was the story of that game, right? It was just home runs. And so, we talked about that earlier in the week about that ballpark, just the ball, especially that one side. They did get one up over the monster or whatever they're calling it out there. But the ball jumps on that right side. And so you got to be pretty careful with them. You talked about the batting average. It's not an offensive team that the numbers jump off the page at you, but they get those big hits. They get those 2-out hits. They get those 2-strike hits. And so, you talked about, you mentioned the defensive numbers. That fielding percentage is outstanding. We'd say 982.
982.
So, that's being able to pick the baseball. Those guys, they let you, if it's hit to them, they're fielding it basically. And so, you got two of the most respected managers in all of college baseball, dudes that play the game a certain way. They play old school baseball. Both of these coaches are old school baseball coaches. These dudes, when you go to Louisville, when you go to Vanderbilt, you're going there playing for a legendary coach, in one of the elite programs in all of college baseball, and you're going to play baseball like Coach Mack says all the time. We're going to play the right way. And these two teams, that's what they want to do. It's pitching and it's defense. It's stealing bases. You alluded to it. Pitching, defense, on, over, in. That's how Vanderbilt plays. That's how Louisville traditionally likes to play. Will there be some homers? Probably. That's what typically happens in that ballpark. But again, it just all is going to come down to keep the ball low in the zone. You hang it, you're going to be in trouble. Cannot the ball low in the zone again? We talked about it earlier with Patrick, and him being able to continually locate that slider for strikes. That's what allowed him to dominate today. And so we've got to be able to keep it low in the zone. If it's we tried to ask Dan afterwards. Hey, Eberle, Bivin, who he was non-committal, which I figured he was good. You have to ask, but yeah, I also figured he was gonna, give you the runaround a little bit, right? He's got to give you the coach answer, but uh, he didn't. He didn't say who it was gonna be. I'm sure we'll know tomorrow. They'll put it in some game notes, or we'll see when we get to the ballpark. However it plays out, but it's gonna be one of those two guys, and you feel comfortable with either one of those guys, right? Because we've seen what they both can do, especially when they're starting on the mound. You run one of those guys out there, they get to go through the pregame the way they want, regimented. I do this an hour out, I do this 45. The last time we saw Ethan Eberle, yeah, it wasn't his best outing against Pitt, right? He threw 10 warm-up pitches. That's not what he's been doing. So that's the thing. Like he's not, from not having to be immediately hot in like 2 months to have to just all of a sudden get immediately hot. He wasn't ready for that. And so whether we are able to run him out tomorrow or the next day, having him have a full, his full time to get ready is going to be a difference maker for him. And if it's Tucker, again, he's been able to do a really good job of getting that ball down. He induces a lot of ground balls, right? And so both of them do. And that's the key. I think we probably have a good chance to see probably a Schweitzer tomorrow. Again, another guy that gets the ball, keeps the ball down, low ground balls. You could see him run out there for multiple innings at some point. So that's the key in this ballpark because of the way the ball flies. You got to keep it low, keep those balls hit on the ground, let you field them. They're gonna look. They're trying to play the exact same way we are. Is basically all I'm trying to say here. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, the team ERA numbers are great. We've seen teams we've beaten. We have 4 wins on our schedule against teams with better team ERAs. We beat Texas, we beat Western, and we beat North Carolina twice. Those teams have better team ERAs. So I'm just saying, all I'm saying is we've seen it and we've done it against those type of teams before. It's not like we're not going to be intimidated by this pitching staff or anything like that. But they do pitch well, and we're going to have to be ready to jump on mistakes.
You know, you talk about the game notes when you mention that. One thing that I think needs to happen is somebody in Congress needs to pass a law that all game notes need to be the exact same format. Because I hate every weekend pulling up game notes from opposing teams, and they've got their probable starters here, and the next one is on the second page, and the next one is hidden in fine print. It's like we need somebody to be like, no, you have to use this standardized format. And I don't know if it's because I've been following Louisville for a long time, but I love the format that they use. It's easy to read, it's clean, the information's right there in front of you on the first page. So if anybody out there is listening that has power to do that, please make that your your goal for the next year. But no, yeah, Vandy and Louisville, they're gonna, like you said, they're going to play a very similar style. That's how their coaches coach. That's how they built their programs, the way they built their programs, and that's what we're going to see tomorrow night. Brandon put in the chat that need to get some early runs to take some pressure off the pitching staff. That'd be huge. If you can come in and no matter who we go with, if it's Bivin or Everly, those are like you said, those are one of the two guys we're going to see tomorrow night. If you can get a couple runs early and just take a little bit of pressure off, as a pitcher on the mound, knowing that you're pitching with a lead, you've got a different approach, right? You can take chances here and there where if you're pitching from behind or if it's a tied game at their place, it's a little different feeling being up there on the mound. So no, that's a huge point. If we can try to manufacture a run here, manufacture a run there, that'd be massive early in the first couple of innings.
I think it just allows you to just almost like exhale a little bit, right? Like,
Yep.
okay, like we're in it now. The offense is moving things along. And by the way, listen, I just want to say, some of you fools out there, man, I saw some of you tweeting after the ETSU home run to fall behind 2-0. Look, man, don't be doing that on there. I'm just telling you, some of you, oh, here we go. I saw a couple here we go against. Come on, man. Guy gave up 2 hits. Give me a break. I mean, what do people want from these kids? The kid's out there just straight shoving it, and he gets a here we go again when he gives up a 2-run homer. Goodness sake, man. I mean, you want to throw a no-hitter every time they go out there? Man, oh man. I mean, can you imagine? Do some of y'all have kids? I mean, like, is this how you parent? Like, when the kid comes home and he, like, had a 2-for-4 day at the plate. Oh, the two, the kid hits, has a double and a single, but the two outs. Man, oh man, some of y'all are insufferable out there. Just lighten up, man. What was it, the third inning? The second inning?
Second inning.
Goodness sake. I mean, that is just ridiculous. I'm not even joking. I know you saw it from the way you reacted. I know you saw it too. I went to tweet at the end of the inning and just kind of give an update, and I saw some of that nonsense on there. Goodness sake. Just stop. Let the game, just let it go. Let it play out. You know what's okay to do? Not say everything that pops into your brain. That's what's okay. And again, I've said it before on here. Some of y'all do not need to be like, I mean, Twitter needs to, or X, whatever. I mean, Elon needs to do a better job of just like looking at who needs to be able to have accounts. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. I'm not even joking when I say it's the worst thing that's ever happened to the world. Is not the atomic bomb or any of that stuff. It's the fact that everybody in the world is able to just put their thoughts out there
Behind account without their name on it too.
Yeah, without their name on it. It just says, it's like a cardboard logo, and it's, some form of Go Cards or an L1C4 or Pat Kelsey's glasses or some nonsense. You don't want to show, you don't want to say who you are. Like I said on here before, put your face on there, stand up, own your comment, say, listen, you don't ever have to wonder what I'm saying. I'm right on here saying it. You know who I'm at the ballpark with my logo on the thing. You got something to say to me. You know what I said. And the funny thing is, it's going to be positive anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But I mean, some of y'all got to give me a break, man. Just stop doing it. I'm gonna say it on here all the time. I'm not going to stop. So if you don't like it, you can just like hit fast forward or whatever when you listen to the podcast. But stop doing it. It's ridiculous. They're in college. The kid threw a 2-hitter through 6 innings with 13 strikeouts. It's a Louisville record. Get a life. I mean, jeez, oh Pete. Just, oh man, y'all drive me nuts with that stuff.
I love when you get on your soapbox, and this is probably one of my favorite ones that you get on. So I was wondering if you saw that stuff. I did.
Saw that nonsense. It's just ridiculous.
And
it's from account. And some of these people actually have followers. People follow that nonsense. Again, like I said, if that's the stuff that you want to follow, there are people that cover Louisville baseball that you can find that type of stuff from if you want to. So if that's what you want, if that's the type of stuff you're looking for, you want someone to be negative, all those things, trust me, there are those people are out there. But if you'd like to take a real approach to the game and things like that, that's what you can find here, because that you're not going to get any of that from me. I'll guarantee you that.
Brandon's got a good question, not to get you off your soapbox.
No, I'm done. I should have been done 20 minutes ago anyway.
He asked if we're visitors tomorrow, which is a good question. We'll actually be the home team tomorrow, which is I love it because we're on the road tomorrow, right? So I love being the home team, but I hate it. I think it's a terrible rule. I think if you are one of the top 16 teams in the country, I think you've earned that right to be the home team throughout the entire regional. That's
It's a
just my stance.
no-brainer.
I don't understand it. I don't. It doesn't make sense why that is the format. But yeah, Louisville will be the home team tomorrow in Nashville. So weird. I hate again tomorrow. I'm gonna love it. Hopefully we notch another walk off win under our belt for the I don't know how many we're up to this year, 5, 6, 7. But I I hate the rule. I think we should beat the visitors tomorrow.
The only way the rule makes sense is when you realize that the NCAA made the rule, and so you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Of course, they made some nonsense rule that I mean, like you just said, Vanderbilt played the entire year for the right to host, to be number. I mean, they go through a whole season. You get to host. Oh, but you're the bro. It just, I mean, obviously it's happened to us too, right? At Jim Patterson, we've seen it
Mm-hmm.
happen over the
Yeah.
years. It just, but just completely ridiculous. If I'm a Vanderbilt fan, I'm super upset about it, as they should be. It's
Yeah.
just, obviously they knew that would happen going in, but no, you're completely right. Just a bogus rule. I mean, like you said, nice to have last at bat for sure, but I mean, they earned that right, man. They should be the home team.
So let's before we sign off tonight, I'm going to take a quick look around the scoreboard to kind of see what's going on. Looks like we are in the bottom of the ninth. Columbia is still up 11-4. We're in the top of the ninth, and Murray State is still up 7-6. So one to keep an eye on if you are at home to kind of follow along with that one. So those are the kind of two head scratchers. Utah Valley is still up 6-3 over Oregon, bottom of the seventh. So I mean, three hosts right now are really in danger of dropping their first game. So that'd be obviously a massive evening after this afternoon was kind of a wash.
You got
But
Arizona State.
let's see, Arizona State, they're up 3-2 right now, so in the bottom of the seventh. So some potential Will Koger action here in a little bit. So keep an eye on that one too. So a local game and a couple former Louisville players to kind of, once we hop off here, go catch up and see how
You got
they
Humphrey,
in the tournament.
Isaac Humphrey in the
Yeah,
for Ole Miss.
that's right. Yeah, and love Isaac. Hope he does well, but I hope that Murray wins that one. Just local ties. I hope they hope. Oh, Murray 9-6, top of the ninth. They just scored two more, so hopefully the Racers can pull this one out.
I didn't see if
But
was Nick Shuddy thrown tonight. He's a local.
who's that?
Was I didn't know if Nick Shuddy was on the mound for Murray tonight or not. I know he was the MVC. He was the pitcher of the year in the combine. He's just a local kid from Louisville.
Yeah,
I'll be able to take
yeah,
a
that's
look
right.
at
He
it later for
played
sure.
it. Yeah, he played at Mail, right?
Yeah, he went to Mail. Yeah, good quarterback
Yeah,
as well.
quarterback down there. Yeah. So, well, Terry, I think that is all we've got for tonight. Brandon said he did pitch. So,
He did good. All right,
yeah,
awesome.
so I have to pull up his stat line and see what he did. But obviously, he did well enough that they're in a position to win the game. So, have to go look at his stat line and see what he did. So obviously, we're heading into Vandy tomorrow night with a chance to stay in the winners bracket, 9 o'clock. So it's going to be a late one. We will be on national TV. That stuff hasn't been announced yet, but they're not going to put Vandy and Louisville on ESPN Plus or some. You'll be able to find it on television somewhere. That won't be announced until everything is kind of finalized this evening or tomorrow morning. So we'll see what channel that's going to be on, but you'll be able to easily access it at some point in time, or tomorrow night when the game starts at 9 o'clock. So before we head out of here, Terry, kind of any final thoughts, your time in Nashville, or anything you want to add to what we've talked about, or anything else before we close this thing up?
Just since since we're not going to go again tomorrow night after the game, just if they do win tomorrow, it would be 9 o'clock again
Yeah.
on Sunday night. And they would be awaiting the winner of the game on Sunday afternoon. So if they did happen to lose tomorrow, it would be a 3 o'clock game on Sunday. So it's the scheduled states. I think we might have actually talked about this on the prior podcast, but Saturday and Sunday schedule are both 3 o'clock for a losers bracket game, and sun, and the night game would be at 9 both days in the winners bracket, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's 3 and 9 the next 2 days, wherever we fall. Looks like Brandon just sent in Shuddy pitched 6 1/3 and threw 119 pitches. So pretty elite stuff there against obviously a really good opponent down at their place in Oxford. And that place was rocking down there tonight. And it's a fun place to be. It's a good place to watch a baseball game, and they get rowdy. They drink a lot of beer. And it's a tough environment to go into. So for a local kid from up here to be able to do that, that's fun. Adds a little extra something to it.
I think our guy Micah, Micah, right, from our guy Micah.
College Baseball Central.
I know he was down there at in Oxford tonight, taking that in. So Swayze's the best, man. It's a fun place to see a baseball game. So I'm sure that place is. I'm sure. Look, they're going to need that crowd the rest of the week if they end up falling. And again, it can be done. It can be done. You can run it all the way back through, and obviously being at home will help. But it's a tall task.
Yeah. Well, like Terry said, we will be back at some point. I don't know when. These games, they start running together so fast, and if you happen to get in the loser bracket, you may have to play 2 games in a day, and it just things start jumbling together quickly. So we'll try to find some time in between games to come up and talk to everybody and do a live if we possibly can to get everybody involved and just talk about the weekend and how the games progress as we go through the Nashville Regional. So 9 o'clock tomorrow night, hopefully we'll pull out another victory, stay in the winner's bracket, and try to keep this thing in cruise control to the Super Regional. But if not, we've got the horses to come out of a loser bracket. But hopefully we have a completely different discussion next time we're behind the microphone. So, Terry, like I said, you're down in Nashville. You got the guitars and everything in the background in your hotel while you're down there now. You've been doing a wonderful job, obviously, covering the team as they go through, getting the videos of the coaches, players, and all that good stuff. You've been pumping it out. I watch every one of them just because it's the easiest way for me to find that information and kind of see what the coaches and players say. So if you're not following Terry, give him a follow. Terry, tell them where they can find you so they can see that information as well.
Yeah, you can follow me on X at InsideVilleBSB, VILLEBSB. Just tweeting out. Yeah, half innings basically is what I try to do. Half innings gives a little update. I'm not trying to just blow your timeline up with every single, play, every bat or anything like that. But half innings, try to provide a little update. And yeah, if I put the videos right out there, if you want it, I send those messages out once I just get it formatted on the YouTube. If you want to find it right on YouTube, Inside Louisville Baseball on YouTube is where you can find it all. I think I said last time, I don't usually say this, but would love if people would subscribe and just be able to, that way you get, it kind of comes right to you, get a little alert or however you want to set your settings up. But yeah, you can find all the stuff right there. Appreciate everybody who's following. I'm gaining more followers every day and stuff, especially this time of year. It's kind of more fun, right? People are kind of a little bit more engaged. So really excited for tomorrow night. Big game, biggest game of the year so far. Hopefully many more big ones to come, but just appreciative of everybody continuing to follow along. And again, just thanks to you, Matt, for, allowing me to be, in this platform with you, and to the guys at State of Louisville. And I've loved doing this. So I think it's a blast. I'm having a blast down here. Yeah, I got to I don't know how to play this guitar, but my dad would know how to play it, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do with that hubcap. I don't know any of this stuff, but I'm just going to keep going to the ballpark, and I'll leave this stuff for somebody else.
Well, when you sneak out tonight or tomorrow for the game, the cat may get up there and start playing. So you may come back to a cat just kind of chilling and playing the guitar on the couch. And you go, he's out now. He's taking a nap. He's done
right now. Yeah. He's heard me talk baseball way too much. He's done.
he partied while you were at the game earlier. Now he's out. So like Terry said, I just want to echo what he said. Appreciate everybody kind of following along. This is a time of the year that's exciting, I think, for you and I. Because football obviously isn't in season, basketball is not in season, so it's kind of the baseball team, the baseball program's time to shine, and all eyes are on the baseball program. So continue watching, supporting them as They go through the NCAA tournament. We appreciate the continued support from you all. Obviously, you can find us on X at Third Central Pod, and we'll if you missed any of this, we'll turn this into podcast, so you will see it on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all the regular places that we post it. So that'll be up shortly, so you all can catch up if you missed anything. So, in the words of Sean Moth, we will see you at the ballpark.